What if the world you see around you, the obstacles, the delays, the doubt, is nothing more than a mirror reflecting your most dominant assumption? What if the real problem is not what's in front of you, but what's inside of you? Because the truth is this: life does not respond to hope, it responds to certainty. Not to the man who tiptoes through hesitation, but to the one who walks like the path is already paved. Act as if you cannot fail, not because you're delusional, but because the moment you do, everything changes: your posture, your pace, your energy, your decisions. You stop asking for permission, and you start acting with purpose. You stop waiting for the door to open, and you break it off the hinges. Because when you move as if success is inevitable, the world does not question you, it adjusts to you. Success does not belong to the clever. It does not belong to the lucky. It belongs to the certain, the obsessed. The man or woman who moves not with arrogance, but with alignment, inner alignment, to a vision so vivid it bleeds into every conversation, every breath, every decision. It becomes your language, your identity, your normal. Think of Edison. He didn't create the light bulb because he had better resources. He created it because he refused to leave the battlefield of the mind. Over 10 zero-failed attempts, and yet not once did he act like he was failing. He walked every single day into that lab like the invention already existed. He just had to find the version of himself who had already built it. And that is the difference. The average man needs to see it to believe it. But the builder, the visionary, he believes it until he sees it. He rehearses success until the universe has no choice but to comply. You must act as if you cannot fail, because that belief, that raw, unreasonable certainty, is what separates the ones who watch life happen from the ones who shape it. And let me tell you something. Every great architect of reality, from Carnegie to Ford to Disney, started in the same place: obscurity, criticism, and doubt. But what they had was a decision. A decision to act without backup plans, without excuses, without needing applause. Ford was told by his own engineers that building a V8 engine in one block was impossible. Do you know what he said? Build it anyway. That was it. No negotiation, no second guessing. He walked away from their doubt like it didn't exist, because in his mind it already worked, and eventually it did. You want to build a life others can't ignore? Then you must be willing to walk forward without proof. That is what makes you powerful. That is what makes you magnetic. That is what makes you unstoppable. But most people don't live that way. Most people wait. They wait for signs, for clarity, for permission, for someone to validate their dream before they take the first step. And that's why they stay stuck, not because they lack talent, but because they never decided. This is your moment to decide, not to dabble, not to try, but to decide. Because the mind that decides fully finally becomes a force of nature. You don't need to be fearless, but you must stop flirting with fear. Stop giving your energy to the voice that says, "What if it doesn't work?" and start feeding the voice that says, "What if it does?" Act as if you cannot fail, and your habits will follow. Your speech will sharpen. Your focus will intensify. Your environment will either rise with you or fall away from you, and either way you will move. Discipline stops being a struggle. It becomes second nature. You don't negotiate with mediocrity. You don't ask yourself if you feel like it. You do it because you are it. Because success is not a reward, it's a reflection of who you've become. Carnegie didn't rise to power because he chased riches. He became powerful because he chased responsibility. He made himself too valuable to ignore. And he never waited to be ready. He acted ready. Every meeting, every project, every risk. And the same must be true of you. You are not here to blend in. You are here to build, to stand, to command. And you cannot do that from the sidelines. You cannot do that while holding back. So burn the bridge, kill the backup plan. Stop keeping the door cracked open for your old identity to sneak back in. That man is gone. That version of you, the one who hesitated, the one who needed proof, the one who asked for permission, he is no longer welcome. From now on, you move like you've already made it. not with arrogance, but with inner certainty. You rise before you're applauded. You work before you're rewarded. You believe before it's visible. Because that is how every empire begins. You must starve your doubt and feed your vision, daily, relentlessly, unapologetically, because that vision is your responsibility. It's not a daydream, it's an instruction. A command issued to your soul by something far greater than comfort. You are not made for mediocrity. You are made for movement. You are made to carry fire. The mind that acts as if it cannot fail is not reckless. It is disciplined beyond comprehension. It doesn't ignore reality. It bends reality through action. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. When your belief, your behavior, and your words begin to synchronize, the world cannot help but reflect that back to you. But remember this. Acting as if you cannot fail is not about pretending everything is easy. It's about refusing to back down when it's not. It's about standing taller when life tries to shrink you. It's about leaning in when fear says run. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it is commanding yourself forward in spite of it. Abraham Lincoln didn't lead through certainty in outcomes. He led through certainty in principles. The outcome was unknown, the price was great, but the belief was bigger. You must build that kind of belief, a belief forged in silence, tested in fire, and proven by motion. That's what separates the wanderers from the warriors. You are not here to question your worth every morning. You are not here to negotiate your destiny with doubt. You are here to rise, to take the weight of your future into your own hands and shape it like steel. And you must do it now, not someday, because time doesn't pause, and neither should you. Speak the vision until your voice stops shaking. Then speak louder, until the words are no longer new, until they sound like home, until you can't speak them without standing taller, breathing deeper, moving faster. And one day you'll realize you've become the person you used to only imagine, because you acted as if you could not fail. There's something extraordinary that happens when a man commits with finality. He stops looking for options. He stops searching for exits. He erases the backup plan. And in that moment, he becomes dangerous. Not to others, but to the version of himself that used to hesitate. The old self dies. The one that doubted, second-guessed, delayed. The one that played small. The one that needed permission to rise. That man can't survive in the fire of full commitment. He was built for comfort, not conquest. But the man you are now, the one rising in silence, deciding in darkness, moving without applause, he's built for war. And life is a kind of war. Not a war against others, but a war against mediocrity. A war against the gravity of average. A war against every excuse that ever told you it's not the right time. The greats, the legends, they didn't escape the battlefield. They mastered it. Andrew Carnegie, Abraham Lincoln, Walt Disney. These men didn't wait for life to hand them guarantees. They showed up when it was raining, when it was hard, when the doors were closed, and they kicked them open. Why? Because they acted as if they could not fail. They decided it would work. And in doing so, they made the world bend to their decision. Understand this. Success does not happen to you. It responds to you. It reacts to your certainty. It rises when you rise. It is not something you stumble into. It is something you build with vision, consistency, and faith in motion. Faith in motion. That's the key. See, most people talk about faith like it's passive, like it's something you feel. But real faith is not passive. Real faith moves. It walks into rooms before the opportunity is confirmed. It trains like the championship is already scheduled. It works like the check has already cleared. When you live like that, when your actions begin to mirror your highest vision, the world has no choice but to respond. Because life doesn't follow your intentions. It follows your standards. And your standards are revealed not in what you say, but in what you tolerate, what you accept, and how you move when no one is watching. So let me ask you now, what are you tolerating that would disgust your future self? Are you tolerating laziness? Are you tolerating indecision? Are you tolerating relationships that drain your spirit instead of build your future? Then stop. Burn the bridge. Burn the excuses. Burn the comfort zone that's been feeding your doubt for years. Because when there is no going back, there is only forward. And forward is where the man who cannot fail belongs. Don't wait for the fire to come to you. Become it. Become the man who shows up when it's inconvenient. Become the man who studies when others sleep. Become the man who speaks like his words build nations. Because they do. Words are not just sounds. They're blueprints. And every time you say, I can't, or it's hard, or maybe later, you are designing a future you will regret.